On the sixth night, my nose started bleeding. That's when I knew it wasn't just in my head. The humming had been waking me at exactly 2 a.m. for 6 nights straight. Always the same time. Always the same frequency. A low, mechanical drone that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Out here, 12 miles from the nearest town, you learn what real silence sounds like. This wasn't silence. By the third night, I thought maybe it was the well pump. Some equipment acting up. By the sixth night, sitting on the edge of my bed with blood dripping onto my undershirt, I knew something was very, very wrong. My name is Robert Hansen. People call me Bob. I'm 58 years old. I've worked this ranch since I came back from Korea in 1953. And for 6 nights in July of 1984, something woke me at 2 a.m. with a sound I'd never heard before. A sound that wouldn't let me sleep. A sound that made my nose bleed. This is what happened. I've been running cattle on this land for 31 years. 320 acres my father bought in 1923. I was born in the house I still live in. Married Linda in 1955. We raised 2 boys here. Both moved to Missoula after college. Linda died in 1981. Cancer. Since then, it's just been me and the cattle. I lease out half the land now to the Morrison family down the road. Getting too old to run it all myself. At 58, the work gets harder every year. But I'm still here. Still get up before dawn. Still do the rounds. The house sits 12 miles east of Choteau on Route 287. Population of the town is about 1,700 people. Out here it's just me. The Keller place is 4 miles north. The Morrisons are 6 miles south. When I say isolated, I mean it. No streetlights, no traffic. Just prairie, sky, and the Rocky Mountain front to the west. Served 2 years in Korea. Saw things there that taught me what fear sounds like, what danger feels like. I'm not a man who spooks easy. Until July 15th, 1984. That's when the humming started. The first night was July 15th. I woke to a sound I'd never heard before, not loud, but present, everywhere, a humming, low-frequency, mechanical, like a diesel engine idling somewhere far away, but also somehow close, very close. I reached for the alarm clock on the nightstand. 2:07 a.m. I got up, walked through the house, checked the kitchen, the basement. The furnace was off. It was summer. The well pump was silent. The refrigerator hummed the way it always does, but this wasn't that. This was deeper. I could almost feel it in my chest. I grabbed my flashlight, went out the back door, walked around the property in my boots and undershirt, checked the barn, the generator, the truck, nothing running. The sound was there too. No direction to it, not coming from the equipment, not coming from the road. Just there, in the air, in the ground. I stood in the yard for a moment, listening. The night was clear. Stars everywhere, no wind, no cars on the highway, just that sound. After about 10 minutes, it stopped. Just like that. Gone. The silence rushed back in. I stood there for another minute, waiting. It didn't return. I went back inside, locked the door, got back into bed, told myself it was equipment somewhere. A truck on the highway I couldn't see. Something normal. Fell back asleep around 3 a.m. The second night, it happened again. 2:03 a.m. Same sound. Same 10 minutes. I checked everything again. Nothing. The third night, 2:05 a.m. By then I started keeping a notebook by the bed. Old habit from the service. Document everything. July 16th, 2:03 a.m. Duration, 11 minutes. July 17th, 2:05 a.m. Duration 10 minutes. July 18th, 2:04 a.m. Duration 12 minutes. Each night the pattern held, always between 2:03 and 2:07. Always 10 to 12 minutes, always that same low mechanical hum. By the fourth night, I wasn't sleeping right, lying there waiting for it, and it always came. On the morning of July 19th, I woke with a headache. Dull pressure behind my eyes. Lasted until noon. I drove into town that afternoon, had coffee at the diner, saw Tom Morrison filling up his truck at the gas station, almost asked him if he'd heard anything. But I didn't. What would I say? I kept quiet, drove home. That night, I took 2 aspirin before bed. Didn't help. At 2:06 a.m., the humming woke me again. The fifth night was different. July 19th, 2:04 a.m. The humming started, but this time it was louder. Not by much, but enough that I noticed immediately, and my head started to ache. Real pain this time, pressure behind my eyes and my temples. I sat up in bed. When I stood, the room tilted, just slightly, like the floor wasn't level. I grabbed the nightstand, heart pounding, walked to the bathroom, one hand on the wall. The sound felt like it was inside my skull now, vibrating through my bones. I sat on the edge of the bathtub, waiting for it to pass. The dizziness, the pressure, 12 minutes that night. When the sound stopped, the dizziness faded, but the headache didn't. Stayed with me until mid-morning, sharp, persistent. I spent that day trying to make sense of it. I'm not a man who imagines things. 58 years old, 2 years in combat, 30 years ranching. I know the difference between real and not real, and this was real. That evening, I made a decision. I wasn't going to sleep through the 6th night. I was going to be awake, waiting, ready. July 20th. I didn't go to bed. Sat at the kitchen table with the lights on, made coffee, kept the notebook open, pen ready. The clock on the wall ticked. 1:30 a.m., 1:45, 2:01, 2:02. At 2:03 a.m., the humming started, and this time it was different, louder, deeper. I could feel it in my chest, in my bones. The pressure in my head was immediate, intense, like something pressing down from the inside. I stood up. The room swayed. I steadied myself against the table, and then I felt it. Warm liquid on my upper lip. I touched my face. Blood. My nose was bleeding. I walked to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Blood running down to my chin. Grabbed a towel, pressed it to my nose, and that's when I saw it. Through the bathroom doorway, the kitchen, the window. Outside, the yard light was flickering, not like a bulb dying, flickering in rhythm, on, off, deliberate. I walked to the back door, looked out. The yard light, the barn light, both flickering, perfect sync. The humming continued, louder than it had ever been. I could feel it in my teeth, vibration that made my jaw ache. I stood there, towel to my nose, watching the lights. 14 minutes. I counted every one. When the sound stopped, the light stopped. Both at once. Solid, steady. The pressure eased. My nose stopped bleeding, but I could still feel it. That vibration in my teeth, in my bones. I sat back down at the kitchen table, didn't sleep, just sat there until sunrise. I drove to town that morning. Sunday. Went to the diner, ordered coffee. Tom Keller was there. He's 63. Rancher, lives 4 miles north, Vietnam vet. We've known each other 40 years. He looked rough, tired. We made eye contact. Something passed between us. He walked over, sat down. We looked at each other. Then he said, "Quiet. You been hearing it?" My stomach dropped. The humming, I said. He nodded. 6 nights, always 2 a.m. We sat there and compared notes. Same time, same sound, same symptoms. His nose bled on the 6th night, too. We started asking around. Careful, quiet. Jim Vasquez, Ed Whitfield, Frank Morrison. By Tuesday, we'd found 4 more, 7 of us total, all men, all between 55 and 65, all veterans, Korea or Vietnam, all living alone on ranches, all within 15 miles. We met at Tom's place Wednesday, sat around his table. The pattern was clear. We'd all asked neighbors, wives, sons. None of them heard it, not one. Whatever it was, it found us. 7 men, veterans, alone. 15-mile radius. Then it stopped. July 21st, the 7th night. I sat at my kitchen table, waiting. 2 a.m. came, 2:05, 2:10, 2:15. Nothing. The humming never came back. None of us heard it again. We reported it to the sheriff in Choteau. Deputy took statements. Said he'd look into it. Never heard back. No investigation, no answers. Tom called the county, the state. Nobody cared. 7 old vets hearing sounds at night. You can imagine. We stopped talking about it. What was there to say? It happened. Then it stopped. It's been 40 years. Tom passed in 1998. Jim moved to Billings. The others, I lost touch. But I still live here. Same house, same bed. And sometimes, late at night when it's quiet, I can still feel it. That vibration in my teeth. A reminder of those 6 nights when something found us, marked us, then left. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. But I know what I heard. I know what I felt. And I wasn't alone. 7 men heard it. 7 men it chose. Maybe it's still out there. Listening. Waiting. For reasons we'll never know. If you've seen something you can't explain, if you have a story that still keeps you up at night, leave a comment below. I'd love to read it. I'll be sharing more stories like this every week. Some things can't be explained, but they can be remembered. Until next time.